I usually write out what I'm going to talk about beforehand so that I can gather my thoughts and, create a time efficient and packed piece. Today, I want to try something different and just maybe ramble a little bit about the archetype of Aries. Aries is coming from Pisces. It's coming from death. It's coming into the world fresh and new, as that newborn. And because of that, it needs to have a lot of different experiences to discover self, to begin the process of creating a sense of self that's separate from mom or from the all, from where it just came. I think this is an important aspect of that Aries energy or the first house to understand, because if you have Aries in your chart, or planets in the first house or Aries, or a loved one or a child, especially children who have that Aries energy, you want to make sure that you are nurturing, that adventurous, inquisitive side. And for people that have this energy, the need to have new experiences is paramount. For somebody who has Aries unconsciously, let's just say they have Pluto in the first house, or they have an Aries or first house south node or moon, these placements are going to be more unconscious. So they will, instinctually just feel the need to get out and experience life and have as many experiences as they can. Somebody who has, Sun in Aries or the first house or a more conscious planet, they might consciously understand this about themselves, that they need and thrive on these experiences. As a parent of a child who has Pluto in the first house, I see how they're always wanting to go someplace new. They don't want to go to the same park twice. And it doesn't matter where, they just want to be going somewhere, but not somewhere they've been before. Which is very, that's correct for them. It's very fitting for what they're here to experience. But what happens if you're somebody who, doesn't have Aries energy and you don't understand this? You might not be able to help that person meet their needs, especially if, like I said, if it's a child or a dependent. So it's really important to understand the Aries archetype and all the qualities of this archetype. They go together, right? The strong will, the being brave, all these qualities are things that we need when we're facing the unknown, which is what Aries energy is all about. They continually facing the unknown so that they can take parts of their experience and begin to develop that sense of self, in relation to others, which is, of course, represents that Libra polarity. There's no understanding of self outside of our relationships with others, because others act as a mirror to us. And, they bounce back certain things. In that mirror of the other, we might find a quality that resonates with us and say, oh, that seems like a part of who I really am, or a part of who I would like to be. And they can therefore take that quality and integrate it into their own being. Or conversely, they might, see a part of someone and shrink back from that and say, well, that's not me, or that's not who I want to be. So relationships are going to be a really critical component for anybody who has, prominent Aries energy in their birth chart. And we can look at another quality associated with Aries, which some people might call, narcissism or being self-absorbed. And I hate when I hear this because, like with anything, there's a spectrum, right? There are true narcissists and there are people who are truly self-absorbed, but I think a lot of times for people who carry Aries energy, it's not that they're a narcissist, it's that they don't, they don't have that strong identity yet. And, that then becomes their main goal, because that's a huge need of a person, is to have a strong identity. Without that strong identity, we're boundaryless, which is where we come from in Pisces, right? That place of being boundaryless. We're defenseless, against other people, against viruses and bacteria, against everything. So the fact that someone might perceive an Aries person as self-absorbed, that's kind of what they're here to do. That's kind of their function, is to create a self. So yeah, they're going to be, they're going to be obsessed with themselves and learning about who they are and those types of things. What I found reading charts is that a lot of people who carry Aries energy were severely neglected as children, and as adults, they don't really have a good sense of self. They don't have a healthy sense of self, or sometimes they don't even know who they are because of their developmental trauma that they experienced as a child. So, and that ties into the quality of Aries as the loner, or, choosing not to engage with very many people. If you didn't learn how to relate to others, and therefore yourself, in a healthy way as a child, it's going to be hard. You're going to be lacking some maybe social skills, the ability to really feel connected to other people, because if you don't have a solid sense of self and you don't feel truly connected to yourself, how can you feel connected to anybody else? I feel like Aries is one of those signs that often gets a bad rap, along with Scorpio and maybe Capricorn or Gemini, and they each have their traits, and they're each developmentally correct and healthy for that individual. But looking at it from maybe the aspect of a different energy, you can't understand why they behave as they do. And I like to be an advocate for people who have Aries energy, because, like I said, it's so misunderstood, and they get so much flack for it, and it's really unjustified. So if you have Aries energy, or you know someone who does, hopefully this short video can give you some understanding and help you to learn more about yourself or them, and also start to develop, some self-love and compassion, because you're not wrong, or they're not wrong for being who they are. They're just like any animal. They're following their instincts, which is another keyword for Aries. You know, they're following their programming, they're following who the creator deemed that they be, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. So lots of love to my Aries people.